James Bridle, New Dark Age, Technology and the End of the Future. Venture into the depths of James Bridle's New Dark Age, Technology and the End of the Future, a thought-provoking exploration of the entwined relationship between technology and modern society. This summary illuminates the fascinating origins of computation, the consequences of our digital habits, and the pitfalls of an ever-accelerating digital world. Delve into the realms of big data, climate change, artificial intelligence, surveillance, conspiracy theories, and the frightening phenomena arising from the marriage of capitalism and technology. Prepare yourself for a gripping journey that challenges your perception of the digital landscape and its implications on the environment and our future.
The military and weather machines. The history of modern computation is tied to the military's need to predict and control the weather. Mathematician Louis Fry Richardson's thought experiment of a weather computer during World War I was the precursor to the first computers developed during World War II. These early machines were used to simulate the effects of bombs and missiles under different weather conditions. However, the true functions of these computers were often concealed, and their oversimplified view of reality and bad data caused serious errors, as seen with the SAGE network mistaking birds for a Soviet bomber fleet. Climate change and technology. The impact of climate change on both ancient and modern technologies is explored in this summary. Climate change is a hyperobject, making it difficult for us to comprehend fully. The Syrian conflict is an example of how climate change led to a refugee crisis, and how agriculture and other ancient technologies are vulnerable to changing weather patterns. However, even new technologies like the Internet are vulnerable, as data centers require extensive physical infrastructure highly susceptible to extreme weather conditions. The world's digital culture becomes faster, making it more energy-consuming to maintain data centers. More energy is used to store and transmit data, and climate change might hinder our ability to integrate all this information effectively. The fallacy of big data. Moore's law predicts that computing power doubles every 2 years. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that technology improves our lives. The belief that more computation and data leads to a better understanding of the world has led to a research system that values automated testing generating tons of data. But this approach isn't effective, giving rise to Geerum's law, where drug research has decreased by half every 9 years. The same fallacy encourages quantity over quality in science, leading to the replication crisis. Although scientific research gathers more data about the world, the current overflow of information negatively affects our ability to process it and slows scientific discovery. The unseen digital economy. Slough, a small town outside London, houses the physical base of our digital world, including LD4, London Stock Exchange's data servers. High-speed fiber optic cables transport financial data across the globe, enabling high-frequency trading. Algorithms and bots monitoring prices react almost instantly, making flash crashes common in the digital finance world. Meanwhile, Amazon uses fleets of robots to store, sort, and pick out products, with humans guided and monitored, maximizing efficiency. However, little attention is paid to the social security system to replace full-time employment. Technology concentrates power in the hands of the few rather than being a great equalizer. Dangers of machine learning. Machine learning has its limitations and can be inherently biased due to inherent human biases. The book explores these pitfalls through intriguing anecdotes, highlighting the importance of ethical considerations when training machines to think. For instance, a computer designed to recognize camouflaged tanks failed miserably in the field despite being trained with multiple images. It turned out that it had only learned to differentiate between a sunny and a cloudy day instead of identifying tanks. The mysterious nature of a machine's mind can justify the conclusions, including controversial and dangerous ones. The idea that algorithms and computation are unbiased is misplaced, since the machines tend to be trained with data, and the only data we have is of our past, which is full of violence, injustice, and racism. The story of Nikon Coolpix S630, which repeatedly displayed the error message, "Did someone summary part?" when Asian Americans tried to take family photos, further highlights the limitations of machine learning and the ethical considerations required in training them. The hidden secrets of intelligence agencies. Intelligence agencies such as the CIA and NSA have a record of developing secret technologies, some of which the world learns about decades or never. The U.S. government, for instance, marks approximately 400,000 new documents yearly as top secret, with the number rising steadily, while the UK keeps 1.2 million documents regarding British concentration camps in Kenya under lock and key. Intelligence agencies' impact doesn't end there, though. Through mass surveillance, they also collect data. Whistleblower Edward Snowden's revelations about the NSA's extensive system of mass surveillance, followed by the uncovering of similar programs in major countries worldwide, exposed the fact that intelligence agencies curate the data that gets to the public, which threatens transparency. While the Freedom Act passed in the U.S. left the NSA's surveillance rights mostly intact, it's high time we recognize the nefarious impact of intelligence agencies on the world around us. Simplified narratives. As humans, we have always had the tendency to oversimplify complex events into simple stories to understand the world. However, in today's information-rich era, many narratives may seem further from the truth. Conspiracy theories, such as chemtrails and gang stalking, emerge as oversimplified explanations of complicated issues. While human-made chemical clouds are genuine, chemtrailers believe that the government is using planes to execute devilish plans. Similarly, conspiracy theorists believe in gang stalking and mind control by nefarious entities. Conspiracy theories are easily propagated on the internet's echo chambers, where people are drawn to more extreme views. The desire for simpler narratives in a complex era is exploited by right-wing populists and religious fundamentalists, as seen through Trump's tweets rejecting climate change as a conspiracy. Finally, while conspiracy theories may simplify our chaotic world's complexity, they can also be terrifying. YouTube's dark side. YouTube's lucrative advertising model has created an environment where bots and algorithms create children's content that is often nonsensical, terrifying, and even violent. While some companies like Little Baby Bum have made millions, the lack of content and age control by YouTube has resulted in a new kind of systematic violence. The dark side of data. At Google's 2013 Zeitgeist conference, CEO Eric Schmidt stated that if camera phones existed in 1994, the Rwandan genocide could have been prevented. However, this belief in the power of technology to fix everything is flawed. In reality, data alone cannot solve complex global issues such as genocide. Investigations showed that the lack of action and apathy, not a lack of knowledge, led to the Rwandan genocide. This is a common state today that proves that data and computation have only made things more complicated instead of helping us make sense of the world. Data needs to be analyzed to provide value, and we need to be conscious of where our data comes from, what it's used for, and who owns it. Only by closely examining technological networks that produce and use data and changing them for the better can we bring meaning to our new dark age.
In A New Dark Age, Technology and the End of the Future, James Bridle takes us on an enlightening expedition through the ever-evolving world of technology and its impact on our society. Throughout the summary, we witnessed the complex origins and ongoing development of computation, its interconnectedness with climate change, and the limits of artificial intelligence. We gained insight into high-frequency trading, mass surveillance, and the disturbing rise of conspiracy theories. As we come away from this journey, it is crucial to reflect on our digital habits and the structural changes that must be made to steer us towards a more conscious and responsible approach to technology and data. Only through understanding and re-evaluating our interactions with technology can we truly bring meaning to this new dark age of our own creation.